It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast, a podcast made by film fans for film fans. I am one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, with my good friend, Corey Knudsen.
Heyo!
We're going to be talking about new releases. It's going to be a little bit of what came out this past week, what movies we were able to luckily see in theaters, also looking ahead then at what we have on the docket for this upcoming week. We'll touch on some physical media releases, what movies we may have bought this week, and what we're looking forward to in the weeks to come, and then also touching base as well on the notable developments in the world of movies. Not everything, just the things that we deemed at least interesting or things that we had an opinion on. So we kind of have a big slate to get through, so we're going to get into it. We just passed over Halloween was yesterday. So Corey, how have you been? What'd you do for Halloween? What are you up to? What are we drinking today?
I was working for Halloween night. Unfortunately, couldn't go out. But I did watch a movie. I'll talk about that a little bit later. A horror-themed movie.
I actually have no idea. After all the prep going into this, I've been over here for 2 hours before we started fucking recording. I have no idea what you watched on Halloween, so that's nice.
I did tell you earlier. I don't know if you were
listening. I was not listening.
But I am in a bit of mourning right now. The Blue Jays lost the World Series to the Dodgers. Great World Series. One of the best World Series of this decade. I'm a big baseball fan, so it was a lot of fun to watch. Game 7 went to extra innings. It was great baseball. I mean, like Brad Pitt says in Moneyball, how can you not be romantic about baseball? There's something just so special about baseball, especially playoffs. Just the cold fall weather, going into extra innings. It's a lot of fun. Blue Jays sold, though. Fuck. That sucked. Holy shit. They were up bottom of the ninth, and then they lost an extra inning. So it was sad. Good World Series, but, we're celebrating, not celebrating, I guess, just
commemorating October
commemorating
and fall.
Baseball, football, fall in general, with this fall season pack of Sam Adams beers. Right now I'm drinking Harvest Hells, which is kind of an easier drink one. We also have this Jacko fucking pumpkin ale,
which I've been sipping on for a while. It's good, it's sweet, but it's it doesn't taste like beer at all. So it's dangerous in that aspect. But Jacko is a wild name for any alcoholic beverage.
It tastes exactly like pumpkin pie.
Yeah, it does.
Incredible. We got this Oktoberfest one, which is kind of like a heartier lager. I really like that. And then, what's the other one
I don't have it. I actually just recycled it because I finished it, but it was the Flannel Fest or whatever. Yeah. It's the Dunkel, which is a dark beer, which we had to look up even though we both had many years in high school of taking German, Dunkel just meaning dark. And that was also really good. So This is a great fucking October variety pack. Yeah.
If I found this at the Cub Liquor Store in Roseville.
There you go.
That's not connected to Cub by Barnes &
The
Noble.
Roseville Cub is my favorite Cub.
It's a great Cub.
It's like the log cabin, almost like log cabin aesthetic on the outside, and it's just so nice. Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. We've had 3 of these also before this episode. This is going to be a fun one. Probably going to be longer, maybe. Yeah, we don't even plan on it being longer, but just our rambling drunk asses are probably going to do that.
This might be. And we also had a really great big release this past week, so let's jump into it. We had Bugonia, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, which was on, I think, Corey's top 10. I think it was his number 6 film for this year for his most anticipated.
Yep.
Yorgos directing films like Dogtooth, which I know you've seen, I still haven't. Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, Favorite, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness. A lot of those films being collaborations with Emma Stone. She's back in this one, also with Jesse Plemons. Aidan Delbus, who steals the show, spoiler alert. And this is about 2 conspiracy-obsessed, mostly one's conspiracy-obsessed, young man or men that kidnap a high-powered CEO of a major company, and they are convinced this woman is an alien who is destroying planet Earth and living out this agenda that her alien overseers and this emperor are looking to satisfy. So this is a film I was interested in seeing. The trailers have really sold me. Being from Yorgos, I knew that this film was going to be, I knew going into this I was going to be in good hands. I didn't have to worry whether or not this was going to be well-helmed, well-directed, well-shot, whether the score was going to be good. I knew that I was going to go see something really special and distinct put together. And it was a good little comforting thing to sit in the theater and just know that I am just at the whimsy of the director and I get to experience this wild story being told. Corey, I know since this was one of your more anticipated films of this year, I want to throw it to you first. What was your expectations like, and then how was your viewing of Bugonia?
Man, I think we'll maybe start off with kind of non-spoiler general thoughts and then dive into spoiler stuff, because I think there's a lot of interesting things to talk about just with where this movie goes for sure. I really like this movie a lot. It lived up to being on my most anticipated movies of the year. It's just Yorgos Lanthimos has such a singular vision in all of his movies that's unlike anything else. He has a great blend of genres of tone where it can be, this movie especially is like a thriller, kind of like little horror elements in there at times, kind of sci-fi elements at times, comedy,
great satire.
Like he knows how to handle all those genres, and that's one of the most dangerous things that you can see is like somebody trying to tackle too many things, but Yorgos Lanthimos knows how to do that really well. He also knows how to get great performances out of his actors, especially Emma Stone, who's he's worked with in the past few movies that he's done. She got an Oscar nomination for The Favorite. She won for Poor Things, so he knows how to... They have a great relationship together. She's incredible in this movie. Jesse Plemons is great. Aiden Delbus, like you mentioned, is really good. I also want to shout out the score from Jerskin Fendrix, who made this made the score feel so grand and epic. And I know, like, I think I was reading something that Yorgos Lanthimos only told him, like, a couple of key words about this movie.
Like, maybe the basic premise.
He said, like, I think it was, like, basement, Emma Stone is bald, bees. And, like, just, like, a few key words. And for him to come up with a score that, like, it's weird because it doesn't really fit this movie, but it also fits this movie perfectly.
From particular characters' perspectives, it fits it exceptionally well.
Yeah, and like from Jesse Plemons, I think is kind of
100%.
Yeah, it's so, even just like him riding a bike down the road just feels epic and everything. So the movie looks incredible. The cinematography is great. All the production, everything. I would love to see all that nominated at this year's Oscars because I think it deserves it. It's such a unique vision. It's a very, very interesting movie. Even if you we'll get into spoiler stuff in a second, but even if you think you know where the movie's going, how it gets there is still such a fun journey and hilarious and kind of sad sometimes, but also very funny. So this was a big win. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. I think Yorgos Lanthimos is just one of the most interesting people working today.
Oh yeah, 100%. With this and couple it with Poor Things and Killing of a Sacred Deer, those are like my three favorite Yorgos films. He has easily become one of my favorite creatives working in the industry, aside from like Denis Villeneuve and David Lynch and like all those like big names. Lanthimos is just so consistent. Kinds of Kindness is the one movie where he I need to rewatch it, but like that was more of like it's good, but like I think that their like anthology stuff doesn't always work for me, so maybe it kind of fumbled there.
And I love Kinds of Kindness.
And with not loving that movie, it has some of the biggest laughs I've had in movies because of Lanthimos and his dark sense of humor, which also bleeds into this movie. I think we need to get into spoilers just because you kind of alluded to this. Even if you kind of know where this might end up going, the biggest kind of identifier as to where this film is going to end is in Yorgos Lanthimos. If he's directing a movie where a CEO is suspected of being an alien by conspiracy theorists, what do you think Yorgos wants to see? Do you think Yorgos wants the CEO to be an alien? Probably. If you've watched any of his work, he wants something nutty and dark and weird, and it works because Emma Stone plays that perfectly. And in those interrogations between her and Jesse Plemons where they're smiling and being kind and really polite, but also each word cuts deep, and you can see it on the other person's face of like, oh, okay, we're fighting right now. That's nice. And it's so well helmed. I think that this film, yes, it blends all those different genres together. It gives us great performances, but also I knew roughly, I think, where a lot of this film was leading, and I had a fucking blast the entire time. There was one scene that kind of took me by surprise. I thought, since we are going to talk about spoilers, there is a suicide scene that really, the brutality of it, while also the framing of it, it gave me one of the saddest moments I've felt in a movie this year, but they presented it in a funny-ass way. where I didn't know if I should be like upset that I just lost maybe my favorite character in this movie, or if I should be laughing by the amount of blood that definitely went into Emma Stone's mouth. Like, it floored me. Like, I don't understand how this man nails down humor. It works so well. This film had me laughing at moments where the rest of the audience was dead quiet. And I'm just like, I feel like an asshole for laughing at this. Because once you find out Emma Stone is an alien, she has been sent here to kind of test Earth and see all this shit and see if she can help regroup and push into like a better tomorrow. And then for her overseers and her to be like, nah, they're a lost cause. Terminate experiment. Pop the bubble. Let them all die. Fuck this Earth. And the shots of a lot of dead people scattered amongst that kind of reckoning that these alien overseers enact had me dying. And there are scenes of kids, at least mostly their feet, at a museum specifically that stood out where I couldn't keep it in any longer. Because you see a child's shoe with obviously the child wearing it, and then you see their little dinosaur toy shimmying into frame, and I thought, no one was laughing. I couldn't contain myself. I was like, oh, I'm going to be that guy. That's hilarious. Like, this movie walks the line, stays on the fence about whether something should be sad, depressing, and dark, or funny and amusing so well. This is the best handling of tones I think Yorgos has done, and this is someone that loves Killing of a Sacred Deer. That's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Poor Things is a fantastic modern adaptation of a Frankenstein story. Better than Guillermo del Toro's, even though I like Guillermo del Toro's. Yorgos does things that I expect greatness out of, and then he still manages to surprise me, which we got in Bugonia.
I think the most impressive thing for me in this movie, again, a blanket spoiler warning for this movie.
Might be a little late after all the shit I just said, but if you're still listening at this point, go see it.
Right, go see this movie. It's very cool. The most impressive thing for me was kind of that main trio of performances where you have two characters, kind of one in Jesse Plemons, who is so certain that Emma Stone's character is an alien. He never wavers on that in the movie. No. He is so certain and he comes off like a crazy conspiracy theorist. People that you hear about online that are just reading too far into things.
The Earth is flat.
The Earth is flat. He's built models of what the alien ship looks like. He's done all this research. He has newspaper clippings. He has the tinfoil. He has everything that you would expect from somebody that is you're insane. You're like a doomsday bunker type person that's doing all this stuff. He's so set in what he's doing. Emma Stone gives, honestly, one of my favorite performances I've ever seen from her because she's playing so many different levels of... She's playing this high-powered CEO. You see it early on in the movie where she's, trying to come off like she's relatable and coming off like, I'm for the people, and you guys can leave at 5:30 for work, but we have, a new mandate. If you still have work at 5:30, make sure you get that done, but also you can leave. It's your choice.
It's your life. You can leave. Yeah.
Yeah,
fine.
But also make sure you get the work done because we have quotas to hit. So you should do that. But up to you. But also get your work done,
which is relatable and frustrating.
It's corporate America, and this movie has so much to say about capitalism and the corporate structure of America for sure. So she's playing that, but once she gets kidnapped, she is playing she's playing an alien that's trying to play as a human, that's trying to also convince that she's an alien, but in a fake way. So it's layers on layers on layers.
It's a dream within a dream within a dream. It's Inception leveled shit.
It's sort insane. Of like in the Mission Impossible movies when somebody's wearing a mask, and it's Philip Seymour Hoffman playing the person playing the person playing the person.
Yeah.
It's that sort of deal. And she does such a good job because initially she's like, I'm not a fucking alien. What are you talking about? She makes recordings. And they're like, all right, record to your mothership and tell them that we want to meet with them. She's like, I'm an alien. All right, cool. This is, we want to talk to you. They want to talk to you. And she does that. But then later as the movie goes on, she has a scene after she finds the kind of back room in the basement where she just goes on this rant where I was at that, I went into this movie expecting that she was going to be an alien because of what you said about it's a Yorgos movie.
Yeah.
But at that point in the movie where she gave the rant, I'm like, okay, that's not something somebody could bullshit. And that's like very specific and very fun.
Mm-hmm. But even if you're watching that scene where she is like confident and she is trying to potentially trying to trick Jesse Plemons into believing that she is an alien, and she is saying all of this shit off the cuff, it's like, I do believe that this CEO, even if she is just a human, could be saying all this. Mm-hmm. And Emma Stone pulls it off perfectly. Yeah. So the performances in this film, amazing. The direction, amazing. The acting, I already said, was great. But Aiden Delbus?
Aiden Delbus was great in this movie.
Stole every scene he was in, was so charming and also so heartbreaking at times, because he is very much along for the ride, but he's here to support Jesse Plemons' character, and it's devastating seeing him just being filled with information and him just taking it at face value. He's like, yeah, okay, you're right, I'll follow you. And it's just, confidence is key in terms of, if you want to be a cult leader, you just got to be confident and say things straight and plainly. People will follow. So, I don't know. This film, like, I had high expectations because it's a Yorgos film. I was excited for it. I didn't think it would reach the heights that they did within this film. It's easily top 2 films of the year. It's between this and Life of Chuck for me. I haven't seen Life of Chuck since maybe whenever it came out, April or March, I forget. June.
It's like summer. Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. But I need to rewatch both of these movies because I wouldn't be surprised if they flip-flopped. Because leaving the theater of Bugonia and just the weirdness of the theater as the credits start rolling and people are like, do we laugh? Is it okay to laugh? Mm-hmm. Is this sad? What's going on? Like, all of Earth just got decimated, but it's kind of hilarious. Like, this film works so well. It handles genre so well and different tones so well. It's not a massive surprise because I had pretty high hopes for this, but I am still just thrilled by what I got out of this movie. So go check out Bugonia. It's showing in theaters. I was really happy to see it in a relatively packed theater house. I struggled. It was one of those theaters where it was the main, so you don't get like pre-select seating. It was something you just go in, like traditional theater going experience, and have to find a seat. And I had to sit like 3 rows from the front, where I was like, oh, this might make this movie kind of rough for me to sit through. But it didn't, and I was so thrilled to see a film so densely packed, at least for the theater-going experience. So go support this film. It's a wild experience. If you liked Poor Things or, honestly, any of his earlier works, I still need to check out Dogtooth. And this movie makes me more excited to go back and check out some of his earlier works that I've missed out on. But, goddamn, almost no complaints with this film.
I've seen Dogtooth. I really like that movie. I think it's a really cool early work from him. And it's interesting because with Yorgos, it's kind of been a fun evolution of like expanding my film, the films that I like to watch. Where I remember we saw The Favorite together in 2018. Mm-hmm. I remember liking that movie, but I was like, man, it's a little weird. And then I remember seeing Poor Things, and a few years had gone by, and I really love that movie. I think that's still my favorite of his. Mm-hmm. And then Kinds of Kindness I really liked. This movie I really liked. So just kind of the progression of like becoming a little bit more, widening my horizons, I guess. This movie's so cool. It has so many things that it's tackling that I think it says really well that I'll fully admit, like I don't understand, or like I probably didn't catch a lot of the deeper things that it was saying on a first watch. I want to sit with it a bit and see it again. But like you mentioned Aiden Delbus, he's such a great in-between character. Like we kind of, we talked about Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons being so confident in what they're both doing.
Setting up.
And then he's in the middle of that, and he is getting manipulated by both sides anytime he's alone with either one of them, where Jesse Plemons is like, well, no, take this shot for this thing because it's gonna free your mind. You're gonna be, and like you'll be able to see the aliens, the Andromedans, I think they're called. And then Emma Stone, when she has him alone in that very sad scene that you mentioned where she's like manipulating him, she's like, no, I'll take you on the ship.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, we'll tell Jesse Plemons' character, like, tell him that I love him. He kills himself. I'm like, ooh, this is really fucking deep right now. This is really sad. So I think the movie just handles that so well. And also with Jesse Plemons' character, like his mom was kind of the subject of this pharmaceutical experiment.
Put on by Emma Stone's company and stuff.
Yeah, her company's pharmaceutical stuff and drugs, and it didn't really work out. She's still in the hospital. And so he's dealing with that, and I think it's a fun little cameo from Alicia Silverstone. If you don't recognize her, I didn't at first, so...
I saw her, and I'm like, is that Alicia Silverstone?
Yeah.
And it just, like, threw me, and I didn't look up any confirmation of it, because she's very, like, sparsely in this film. But after you bring it up, I was like, oh, it is! Okay, perfect. Because she pops up in a horror film called The Lodge that came out in, like, the 2020s, early 2020s, like 2022 maybe, 2021. And she's fantastic in it. But I was like, wow, like, sure, you've shown your age a little bit, but you are still, like, so attractive and an awesome actress. You're not just Alicia Silverstone, the comic book fan of me being like, oh, you're not just Batgirl or Clueless or like all that other stuff, but it's just interesting to see her also in this film.
There's we talked about it a bit, the kind of flashback black and white scenes that they have in this movie with her. Honestly, one of the most striking visuals of the movie for me was when Jesse Plemons is looking after her, and she has like 50 needles in her body, and they're just all sticking up. And then you see another flashback where she's just floating in the air. Yeah. And it's obviously not actually happening, but it's just like of Jesse Plemons' interpretation of what's happening in that scene, which is so impressive. Yeah. And just adds to like why he is the way he is, why he's actually doing this. There's so much to dig into with the movie for sure. I really like it. It's grown on me so much. I think like my expectations maybe got in the way a little bit of expecting Emma Stone to be an alien in the movie, so I was like, yeah, it happened. Yeah. Like, right. But, like, along the way, the journey was so fun of her typing in a 58-digit code on a calculator. But Emma Stone plays it so well where you could be like, yeah, she's trying to bullshit her way, being like, yeah, give me a minute because I'm actually human,
and like this insane man basically has me at gunpoint,
and I'm waiting for like the people outside to recognize I'm in danger and to call the police right now. So it's 58 digits, but it actually is 58 digits.
And she's like, "Fuck!"
And then
can you just stop talking? Can you just stop talking
like,
for
I'm
a
trying
second?
to think right now.
I just need a minute for this.
And then Jesse Plemons blows up in the closet, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So yes, what I thought was 100% true. She goes up, she pops the earth. It's so much fun. It's such a fun movie to just discover along the way, even if you kind of know where it's going, like we mentioned before.
Yeah, if you've listened this far and heard all the spoilers, I want to say go and watch this movie knowing nothing about it. If you've not seen this movie and you watched this far or listened this far and heard us talk almost most of the spoilers out from this film, sorry, still go see it. I think it's such an exceptional movie. Do you have... So your favorite was still... For Yorgos films, is still potentially Poor Things. Poor Things, where does Bugonia kind of fall in? Is it in like the top echelon, or is it still kind of like... Where do you place it?
It's in the top for sure. I don't have a movie of his that I dislike, honestly. It's so tough because I love like The Lobster too. I think that movie's so cool. Yeah. Like Killing of a Sacred Deer I know is your favorite, and I think that movie's incredible. Kinds of Kindness is probably the funniest of his movies and has such cool stuff. So he's such an interesting director that just crafts great movies that are thought-provoking but also very entertaining and very weird and very fun. So also a great use of the song Basket Case by Green Day in the movie. It was in the trailer, and I'm glad they brought it in the movie.
Anytime they actually pull through and bring it over from the marketing campaign, like the Immigrant Song for Thor Ragnarok, and they pull it into the movie, I'm like, thank God. Thank you for not only just trying to like hype me up for a trailer, like thank you for carrying that over into like what this new interpretation is. So I love it within this film as well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much Oscar love this movie gets, because I don't know that it's like Poor Things. I don't know that it's the same level of Oscar wins. I don't know that it's going to get a lot of the big categories. I think like some of the below the line stuff it could for sure. Yeah. But it doesn't. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, and Poor Things, like, I don't know. Poor Things is more of like it's such a pretty film. This film's like kind of ugly. Like, not that it looks bad. It's just what it covers. You got Emma Stone, shaved head, rubbing cream on herself on a cot in a dingy-ass basement, trying to convince two conspiracy theorists that haven't probably showered in the past month that she's not a fucking alien.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, that's kind of like if it's kind of a hard sell for I feel like what a traditional Oscar heavy like campaign film would be. So I'm like, if it doesn't get the accolades of Poor Things, I'm not going to knock it against Bugonia just because it's so specific in what it sets out to do. But I don't think that the quality is different between the two. I think that these are two fantastic films. And honestly, it makes me want to rewatch Kinds of Kindness more than anything. Because that's, of Yorgos' films, the film that doesn't work for me all the time or the most. So I'm like, all right, well, this dude hits 98% of the time. Maybe I should check out that other 2% just to make sure.
Yeah.
And I know you love it. And like I said, even if it doesn't always work for me, some of the biggest laughs I've had in movies in a while. So, and even within this movie. So,
I also want to shout out Will Tracy, who wrote this movie. He wrote The Menu, which I know
love
you really
that
like.
fucking movie. I didn't know that.
He also won 3 Emmys for writing Succession, which the strong suit that Will Tracy has is that he only wrote 3 episodes of that show. All 3 of them he won Emmys for. And
what a fucking track record. That's fucking so awesome.
And like my favorite of his episodes of Succession that he wrote is in the final season. It's like this election party where Sarah Snook and Matthew McFadden are just on a kind of porch or like at an apartment just kind of overlooking the city, and they're just talking about their marriage. And it's just a back and forth dialogue that goes on and is so real and authentic and it's emotional. And you can see that come through here where a lot of this movie is just them talking in a basement, just back and forth.
And it's thrilling.
And it's great. He does such great work there. So I just, Will Tracy like is such a fascinating writer, and I love his work on this movie. I like The Menu a lot. I like his work in Succession. He's just did a great job of crafting this movie and pairing it really well with Yorgos Lanthimos' style of directing, and kind of that it just feels like two visions that were perfectly aligned, and then all the crafts of the movie as well just feel like they came together. I really like the movie a lot, so big recommendation.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot more to dive into with a lot of the themes and all that kind of stuff. We could be here forever, honestly.
Yeah, this could be a full Bugonia episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So go see it. It's such an interesting movie to watch for sure. One that I caught up on this week that Mason saw was Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's new movie. And I had a really fun time watching this movie. The biggest thing I can say is that I'm so happy I saw it in theaters.
100%.
The visuals of this movie look so good. Guillermo del Toro with a misunderstood monster. That's his bread and butter there. Like that's a match made in heaven. And just seeing a great performance from Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein. I think he's having a fun time just in this kind of crazed scientist, the mad scientist role. And then Jacob Elordi, who I really just kind of know from Saltburn. And then like I'm aware of him in Euphoria.
Kissing Booth and Euphoria.
Euphoria, I've seen like a couple episodes of it. I haven't seen the whole show, but like he was really impressive in this movie, and I think the makeup work on him was really cool too, to not just be the typical Frankenstein bolts in the head. I think we kind of talked about it last week. Yeah. So the strong performances there. I just like this movie is a bit too long. It's about 2.5 hours, but I sort of feel the same way about this movie as I do with Zack Snyder's Justice League, where if this director is going to give me their vision for this movie, give me all of what you have and all of what you think is essential and important, because why not? Like, this is your one time doing this movie. Give me all of it. All of it may not be essential. All of it may not be like critical to the story, but it's just visually insane to look at. The performances are all good. And I know a thing you brought up last week was the structure of the movie. That's kind of a big thing. I actually kind of dug it. I know you were a little on the fence about it.
Yeah.
And maybe it helped going in knowing a bit of how it was structured. I think you had a really good analogy of like the 12-chapter book and doing that. I think
starting on the 11,
Yeah, I think you did a really good job explaining that last week. And I actually like that because we've had so many Frankenstein stories before where we know the story in a linear fashion.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've had this in the original 30s version, the 90s. We've had the I, Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, all the different versions. And I think this version did a great job of really focusing on a character for a set amount of time. So you have Oscar Isaac for a chunk. You have Jacob Elordi for a chunk, and then we kind of come together at the end. I dug that a lot. I think it added to kind of the emotional depths for what each character went through in their arc. And I liked kind of leading up to this scene on the ship where they kind of come to a head and sort of light spoilers, I suppose, where we have Jacob Elordi and Oscar Isaac coming together for a moment where they Oscar Isaac at least kind of redeems himself a bit, where he has been so much like, I want to find immortality, I want to do this, and he creates it, and he's like, oh fuck, this is a lot more than I bargained for.
Yeah.
And then he kind of comes to terms with what he's done. So the structure kind of helped me there for sure. But it was just so much fun watching this world. I love just the universe that Del Toro created with this movie. I know it may not be in theaters for much longer, but definitely go see it there because not only the visuals but the sound is great. And I can't imagine watching this movie for the first time on Netflix. Like, that's just, I don't know. This movie deserves to be seen in theaters. I really dug it. Really glad I checked it out this week.
Yeah. I'm happy you saw this. It, like, the issues I had with it, I mentioned last week, but I'm still a massive fan of this film. I think one thing that I didn't mention this week, and you kind of alluded to, you have, like, you have Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein. You have a great cast here. And yes, this is kind of like a two-horse story, or two leads between, because it is very much split between the monster and Victor Frankenstein and their halves of the story, their perspectives. But the fact that you're able to round out the cast, you have Christoph Waltz, you have Mia Goth, and you're able to have good character moments and keep the film interesting within just like the integral human characters, and not need the monster to make a scene important or a scene interesting. Christoph Waltz is maybe one of my favorite actors ever. Watch fucking Django Unchained, watch Inglourious Bastards, watch him in Spectre. I love him as Blofeld. Yeah. Or Oberhauser, or whatever they call him before they reveal him as Blofeld, which was a horrible secret that they try to keep. I think that this film is so well-helmed, well-handled, and it's in perfect hands with Del Toro. So, and I still think this is probably the definitive version of Frankenstein. If I ever go back to a Frankenstein film, it's going to be this one, to watch the story of Frankenstein. So I'm happy you watched it. I'm also kind of jealous. You got to watch it on Halloween week, where I watched it last week, where I'm like, I should have saved it. Like, damn,
it's a perfect vibe for Halloween for sure.
And like I said, it has like the look of like a Crimson Peak. Like, it's so beautiful. So definitely go check it out in theaters if it's still showing near you. I know it's coming out on Netflix November 7th, which is also interesting. I feel like they should have tried to push to release this even a little bit earlier on Netflix, but I like that the theatrical release is kind of prioritized in the heart of October or latter half of October. So check it out if you can in theaters. Otherwise, catch it on Netflix. It's a great time. A film that you watched that was still in limited release, also a Netflix original, that now I was able to catch on Netflix, which was Ballad of a Small Player, which is directed by Edward Berger, who did Conclave and All Quiet on the Western Front, and is starring Colin Farrell and Tilda Swinton. And it's about this gambler who definitely is struggling with gambling addiction, and he's trying to pay his past debts, and he's trying to catch up with the just insufficient funds he's running into throughout the entirety of the movie. I was really surprised at this film because going into it, I thought it was a relatively straightforward story from the synopsis, the summary. And just, I think you did a great job of reviewing this film without giving too much away. You mentioned that there's a couple of elements to this film that have like horrific scenes or some good scares to it, or kind of making it almost good to watch in October. And I completely agree. There is some good... This is a haunting movie. This is a man haunted by his addiction, but also like the repercussions of the decisions he is continuously making. Like, I really did enjoy this film. The performances, top to bottom, fantastic. The one thing that stood out the most for me that made this film so special is the direction by Edward Berger, and how vastly different this feels from All Quiet, how different it feels from Conclave. This film has an energy that Conclave, a movie about people trying to dictate who's going to be the next pope and all that stuff, and it's a little bit more like sharply shot, slow moving, there's not a lot of like kinetic energy within a frame or a camera movement. Whereas this film, it's just we're going. And we're with the character that's struggling with his addiction, but he's also unwilling to like accept his addiction. I was enjoying this film from beginning to end. It's not necessarily going to... I don't think it's in my top 10 for 2025, but it is like knocking on the door from the outside of like those 11 to the teens to the 20. Like it's a great movie. I feel like it's kind of going to get lost in the shuffle maybe this year. I'm worried about because Colin Farrell's great, Tilda Swinton's great, the performances are all really good. I haven't heard a lot about this movie aside from when you talked about it. So I'm getting worried that this might get lost in the shuffle. Visually, same with Del Toro, same with Frankenstein. This movie is visually arresting. It is so stunning. The wild, I forget the exact setting of where they're at for these casinos that he's consistently running back through
in Macau.
In Macau.
Yep.
And the juxtaposition of different colors in shots that almost stand out. There's a shot of Colin Farrell at like a house on the water, and the window frame is like bright teal green, and he's wearing a bright ass red suit. Like it's just shit that clashes, but clashes in a way where I'm so invested. Like it's just so cool to look at. And it's something like the visual styling of this I was not expecting from someone who did Conclave. Not that Conclave isn't like a visually arresting movie to watch. It's just kind of like you get what you get. It's what you'd expect. Like they're cardinals voting on the Pope. Like they're wearing their robes. You don't get a lot of like cool contrasting colors. This is so like neon soaked. And I was so surprised by this. And this almost more so makes me more like, damn, like I love Denis Villeneuve. He's my favorite working director today, but I fucking wish we lived in a world where Edward Berger was doing the next James Bond movie. Because I think he could, after seeing that, I'm like, you would nail Bond. Like, oh my god. So, Ballad of a Small Player, I don't think it's probably showing really in theaters a whole lot anymore. That limited release has probably ended. It's on Netflix. It started, I think, this past Wednesday, October 29th. So definitely check it out. It is worth your time. It's also an hour and 42 minutes. The story, the essence of the story is kind of a serious drama, and it moves a little bit slow. It has some haunting elements that I really appreciated, but it's a fantastic watch for a Netflix original. So definitely check it out if you haven't.
Edward Berger, I think I mentioned it, when I reviewed it, is that his range is just so impressive where you can see, like, stylistic choices from all of his movies that you're like, that's an Edward Berger movie, but he expands them in a way.
He's so sharp.
And just with the screenplay specifically for each movie where it's like, that fits what we're doing here perfectly. I think I mentioned the sound design, too, of just,
awesome.
like, the gloves.
I thought of you because I remember you saying that, but there's a scene, especially like it happens kind of reoccurring this thing that he does where he has these rubber gloves that are not rubber, but these leatherish gloves that he wears during these baccarat games that he's playing, and he will he'll turn his cards to the side and he'll fold them up, and you can hear like the crinkle of it.
Every little crinkle.
That is erection building. Like that is like, I'm like, oh my god. But especially in that one of the more final moments in the movie, a big hand needs to be had, and he just rips on it and I'm like, me watching it, I'm like, you're really folding those cards in half, dude. Like, fucking chill. But also, like, it's needed for what's happening in this moment. This is kind of an end-all, be-all because it's a gambling movie, but the sound design is exquisite. Yeah. The gloves are just so ridiculous. And I like that they make it a point to acknowledge them in the film a couple of times. So I really dug this movie. Of his films, it's probably, it's of All Quiet and Conclave, it's my least favorite, but it's not bad. Like, it's still great. It's just when you're going up against, like, some of the best films of the last couple of years, kind of a tall order. So I really did like Ballad of a Small Player, though.
I'm sad that you kind of mentioned it's getting lost in the shuffle a bit. As far as award season goes, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think this movie deserves to be in that conversation. I understand why it's not, but with All Quiet and Conclave being nominated for Best Picture, I'm like, I personally think this movie deserves to be in that conversation. It is in my top 10 of the year. Like, It's tough, but it's on Netflix now. Go watch it. It's such a cool movie. It's just Colin Farrell giving a masterclass performance for sure. Another person giving a masterclass performance was a movie that I checked out that came out, I think it was last week, which is Jeremy Allen White in Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. I've always liked Bruce Springsteen. I haven't known a lot about his history. I don't know his discography super well, like I kind of did with Bob Dylan more so last year with A Complete Unknown. With the Minnesota connection, I feel like I kind of knew that a little bit better. Bruce Springsteen, I knew, Born in the USA, Glory Days, and I'm on Fire, all the big songs. But Scott Cooper directed this movie, and it's essentially focused on Bruce Springsteen in 1982, creating his Nebraska album, which is a more acoustic and very natural sounding album that was coming right off of his big tour of Born in the USA, of Born to Run. Yeah. Came off of that, and then at the same time, he was kind of making Born in the USA and I'm on Fire, that whole album that is a lot of the songs that you know from him. But Nebraska was a really personal album for him, where he was pulling on influences from his upbringing with his dad, played by Stephen Graham in this movie, who... I love Stephen Graham. Adolescence is fucking awesome. Watch that if you haven't. But he's really pulling from an emotional state where the studio and kind of all the record labels are like, yeah, this isn't like mainstream. Like, this is kind of a niche thing that like an artist wants to do. Like, we can't really we want you to do the hits right now. Yeah. And the most interesting thing for me in this movie was when it was focused on Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen in just this kind of remote house with Paul Walter Hauser, recording this on equipment that was very it didn't sound great. The quality wasn't great. It was very echoey, but like Bruce wanted that for this sound. And it's so interesting just hearing them kind of like tweak in their bedroom of just like, all right, well, we kind of want this sound, we want that. The sound design's really good as it kind of applies to that sound he was looking for. And that was really the core of this movie, where I'm like, that's what I love about it. I think it does try to handle a lot of different things they do some flashbacks with his dad, with Stephen Graham. Mm-hmm. They have a relationship with Odessa Young in the movie, this kind of woman he meets, and I think she's an amalgamation of like real life people that he kind of dated or saw at the time. She has a daughter, and he's trying to date her and also be a big rock star on the rise. So I think it gets lost a little bit there and doesn't fully commit to everything it wants to do. But when it is focused on him making this album and him passionate about that, especially Jeremy Strong, who's his manager, who doesn't fully understand always why he's doing it, but he's like, man, I back Bruce. Like, he knows what he's doing. Even if I don't fully understand it, he's like, I back what he's doing. And it was an enjoyable watch for me. It was honestly fun kind of listening through the Nebraska album as well. Like, I listened through all of it before I saw this movie because I hadn't heard a lot of songs from it. But Atlantic City and Johnny 99 are fucking awesome. I love those songs, and it kind of sparked a new love of Bruce Springsteen, who I never had a deep connection to, before this. But I think now I want to listen to more of his stuff. Jeremy Allen White is great. He sounds exactly like Bruce Springsteen, which is crazy. And I think this movie is good. I don't know that it's going to be in the Oscar conversation like A Complete Unknown. But if you're a fan of Bruce Springsteen, I think you're going to appreciate this a lot. And I think it's an enjoyable watch for sure. Like, I know you're not a big fan of musical biopics, but there is more to it than kind of the generic music biopic that you see come out, I feel like once a year now.
Yeah. I'm not, kind of similar to you, I'm not the most familiar with Bruce Springsteen. I know some of the hits, and I can hum some of the tunes and all that stuff, but I am kind of, musical biopics are a genre that have become long in the tooth for me. They're all relatively the same, but the thing that interests me is the cast as well as Scott Cooper directing. So I don't love saying this, but this is a film I'm likely going to wait and catch on streaming. I'm not rushing to see this out in theaters, especially since in the coming weeks and we're starting to get not only a lot of great awards contention films, but also like Predator Badlands, some potential blockbusters, some good fun films at the theaters for this fall season that I'm really excited for. So I think this one I'm gonna be waiting for like a nice slow weekday once this film lands in streaming. But I'm happy that overall it's worked well. I'm not surprised at all in the performances being good. I have all the faith in the world in this cast, so I am excited to see it, but it is tempered by like the comparison of what I could be seeing in the theater versus this. So
Do you have a favorite Bruce Springsteen song?
I think it's more just the misrepresentation for Born in the USA, where everyone, like, I've been to 4th of July's, like even in Duluth where they're shooting off fireworks and stuff and they're playing Born in the USA, and it's like that song is not patriotic. Like, that song is like anti-America almost, and I'm like, I think it's funny when people are like, oh hell yeah, Born in the USA, oh fuck yeah. And it's like, listen to it a little bit more. You need to understand it a little bit more before you're gonna hype it up too much. But
interesting you say that, because like I've heard all those discussions of like every time I've played that at a 4th of July and people are like, actually it's not that. I'm like, hey, shut the fuck up.
But the sound of it works.
Yeah, the sound is great. It's just a personal favorite. I'm on Fire.
I'm on Fire is good.
So good. I love as a quick side note, the rendition of that in the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage in the end credits of that movie. I forget who sings it,
about that.
but I think that song is so good, and that's just like, I don't know, that song is just like a late night drive song. Like, I love I'm on Fire. So yeah, if you like Bruce Springsteen, I'd recommend checking out this movie.
I did a quick Google just to give some credit to that, because I remember that too. That's insane. It looks like it's from a vocalist named Cassandra Violet.
Yes.
And I remember that too. That stands out so much in that movie. It's so good.
It's a great rendition of that song.
I like I said, I'll end up checking this out eventually here in the coming, I don't know, months, weeks. The theatrical window being shortened, it kind of really throws it all into a tizzy as to when I'm going to see this on streaming. But I will be checking it out, mostly because Scott Cooper and Jeremy Allen White, and also Jeremy Strong and Paul Whitman. It's a great cast, but the team behind it excites me more than the material we're covering, even though I'm like a base level Bruce Springsteen fan. I love The Boss, like from The Office, where he's like, I got 2 tickets to The Boss. Love that shit too. Yep. But as we mentioned, we did just pass over 2 days ago we had Halloween. 2 days. I don't know. It's weird because we're 1 a.m. recording this, so like yesterday feels like it was.
Oh, we just had
Halloween.
daylight savings happen also like 2 minutes ago.
Whoa!
We fall back an hour, so it was 2 a.m., but now it's 1 a.m. again.
Yeah.
So woo!
Because it made it on my computer, but now I'm looking at your mic.
Yeah, my clock's wrong on there.
Yeah, now
so.
everyone go correct your clocks if you're up right now.
Yeah.
But it was Halloween a number of days ago, recently. So I did a watch through of some horror films that I haven't seen, horror films that are really nostalgic to me, that I love around this time of the year. But also, Corey, I know you've been watching the Texas Chainsaw movies. You hyped up or talked kind of positively, at least, about some of them. Yeah. And one of those was the remake, the one directed by Marcus Nispel that came out in 2003, just titled the same as the original, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Marcus Nispel then did the Friday the 13th remake, which I will actually talk about a little bit later, but this is the film starring Jessica Biel. You talked about it last week. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I did sit down and watch this for the first time, and I don't see how you make a better remake or reimagining of that first film that's better than this. This is exactly what I would want in a reimagining or remake of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I had a great time. There's some good kills. There's some really surprisingly really good performances, specifically Arlie Ermy, who you brought up last week. I had a great time with this. It has that same kind of like gross, sticky, hot, sweaty feel. You don't have that dinner scene in that original where it's like, I'm going to throw up right now, I can't eat. And you also kind of lose a little bit of that cannibalistic tinge or spin on it. It's hinted at, but it's not 100% there. You have great moments of tension, like in that meat scene or the butcher shop scene. So I was really pleasantly surprised by a movie that most of these films of this Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise that you've been talking about over the past couple of weeks, I feel like most of these films have been lambasted and just like not necessarily hate bomb, but reviewed poorly. And to find some like nuggets of goodness with this 2003 remake, where I'm like, I had a good time watching this. I'm like, this is a good movie. This is a great remake. I would recommend it to you. I know Halloween is past. To me, Halloween does bleed over and leach over into November. I'm not one of those people that's like, Halloween's over, Christmas tree goes up. It's Halloween's over. We prolong Halloween. Thanksgiving happens, then Christmas tree. Like, I acknowledge, like, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving has the best food of any holiday, so I'm gonna enjoy that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna continue to prolong or continue to watch horror films well into the rest of this fall, into November, if you can do with some violence and some gore, and you don't want to do the 70s Texas Chainsaw Massacre original, the 2003 remake will do you just fine. Will serve you just fine.
I'm glad that this is the one that you watched, kind of the ones I've talked about.
Yeah,
it's kind of the most like mainstream fun version of this story, I think, for sure. But I did finish out the 9 movies in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I finished watching the final 3 this week.
Start by telling us about the good parts of these.
I'll tell you about the good parts of these. Texas Chainsaw, which was called Texas Chainsaw 3D at the time, in 2013, and then Leatherface 2017, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2022. Before I dive into each movie, I quickly want to say it's very impressive that there is not a repeating title for any of these movies specifically, because the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is chain and saw are 2 separate words. So the remake isn't titled the same because chainsaw is 1 word.
I didn't even catch that.
Texas Chainsaw, Leatherface, and then there's like Leatherface 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. There's none of these movies have the exact same title. There's 9 of these things.
Fuck you, Halloween franchise.
That's impressive in a weird way. When you audibly say them, they're the same for some of them, but I don't know. My weird little autism kicked in as I was like looking through the movies, and I was like, that's kind of interesting.
They did it.
Okay, I'm gonna go through these quick.
That's the end of the positives.
Yeah, end of the positives for this. I'm gonna get into spoilers for the last 3 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. So if you're watching along, if there's any weird other soul that's doing a watch through along with us or along with me, I guess. Spoilers for all these. Okay, Texas Chainsaw 3D came out in 2013. The couple good things. There's one really good scene in this movie of Leatherface sewing on a mask onto himself. You kind of see it in like a mirror and background of other scenes. In this movie, you see him like going through his cheek and like sewing with a needle and like putting on somebody else's face. Really good scene. Really great. Want to shout that out. Also, Alexander Daddario and Tanya Raymond are insanely hot in this movie. I know I mentioned last week Jessica Biel, Jordana Brewster. I'm a fucking pig. Sue me. Whatever the fuck. I don't care. Alexander Daddario. Watch the first season of True Detective and whatever. If you know,
episode 2 or 3, maybe.
If you know, you know. Okay, that's all my positives for this movie.
Wow.
This movie is... surprised if you've listened to my other reviews for the other ones. This is a true sequel to the original movie. I've heard that before. But the timeline does not make sense in this movie because the original takes place in like 73, 74, I think it is. This movie is about like 20 years after, because that's how old the characters are. Alexander Daddario is a family member of the Sawyers, of the cannibal family from the original movie. She survives. She grows up. She's like late teens, 20s, something in there. So the movie should take place in the 1990s. It doesn't because they all have iPhones, so it's like set in 2013 when the movie was actually made. That doesn't make sense. I don't fucking understand how that works. They don't explain it at all. Also, the movie was initially called Texas Chainsaw 3D. There's a lot of, very obvious shots of like the chainsaw just at the camera. Kind of like a Friday the 13th 3D.
With the arrow.
Where you watch it in 2D when it's meant for 3D in the early 2010s, late 2000s. There's a part where Leatherface throws the chainsaw at the camera, and you just see it, but it doesn't look good because it's in 2D. That's fun. The characters in this movie are awful. It's shitty, awful dialogue. The script is dog shit. Essentially the mayor of this town and all the townsfolk in the, like, right at the end of the original movie follows up. They kind of burn the house down. They're presented as these bad people for wanting to kill a cannibal family. They're kind of the heroes to me because they want to save this town from this weird fucking family. But they're the villains of this, I guess, which plays into Alexandra Daddario and her friends go out to a house, and then they, encounter Leatherface, and then she, towards the end of the movie, kind of realizes that Leatherface is her cousin, and then she starts to team up with him. And then they kill the sheriff they kill the mayor of the town, who again is presented as a villain, even though he just wants to stop a Texas chainsaw wielding guy from killing his people in his town. And there's a scene where the Leatherface and the mayor are battling, and Alexandra Daddario has a chainsaw, and she says, "Do your thing, cuz." Throws the chainsaw at him, and the mayor gets killed, and then she becomes his kind of caretaker. And they live in a house together. And even though that Leatherface killed all of her friends and her boyfriend early in the movie, who Trey Songz is in this movie. Remember Trey Songz? Yeah, he put out some songs back in the day. That's her boyfriend. He's also cheating on her in the movie. They don't address that really after the initial thing. So this is a wild movie. There's a post-credit scene in this movie where Alexandra Daddario's kind of foster parents come to see her, and then Leatherface, chops them up or whatever. This movie's not good, but this is the most fun Texas Chainsaw movie I think you could get drunk and watch. It's the most bad it's good Texas Chainsaw movie. I know I spent a lot of time on that one, but I had a lot of notes for that. The next one is Leatherface, which, this one is good because it premiered on DirecTV in 2017, which is insane that happened before it even went to theaters. This movie's so boring. This is a prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the 1970s, and it tries to dig into what makes Leatherface Leatherface. It's not interesting at all, and it's so weird because it's just Leatherface is a kid that's at a insane asylum, but then he escapes with a few other kids and then one of the nurses, but the nurse has so many opportunities to leave throughout the movie, but she doesn't. Like, they're at a diner and she could tell the waitress that she's being kidnapped right now and she doesn't do it. And it's wild. They try and play it as a twist who Leatherface is in the movie, like which one of the kids is going to become him. It's not surprising at all. It's dog shit. I fucking hated it. And the kid that becomes Leatherface becomes him so quickly, and he kind of had a relationship with this nurse, but then that just goes by the wayside towards the back part of this movie when he actually becomes Leatherface. It just, all that work that they did to build it up is wild. Stephen Dorff plays a sheriff in this movie, and I guess his daughter got killed by the family, the cannibal family, but he doesn't really react to it when you see it. Again, he's presented as a villain in the movie for wanting to, like, protect the townsfolk from this cannibal family. It's a weird thing. Finn Jones, who played Iron Fist in the Netflix Marvel series, he's in here, but he's a corrupt cop or something. I don't know. And it's a really bad movie. This movie sucks. This is my least favorite of the Texas Chainsaw movies. I'll do a quick ranking in a second, but I really didn't like this one. The last one.
I feel bad to leave as you're just ripping into one.
As Mason returns from a piss, I'm going to have to do it in a second here. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. This one is sort of its own. There's like 5 different continuities in here in the franchise. It's weird. This one is kind of its own thing. This came out in 2022 directly on Netflix, so you know that this one is going to be awesome. It's not. This movie loses all of the grit and grime of the first movie. It is so bright and polished. It's about these influencers that go to this small town in Texas that I guess is somehow near the original family, and they want to like build up this town and put like taco shops or something in there. it's bad, but it's not as bad as Leatherface because there are some fun scenes where Leatherface is on a bus with a bunch of people that are partying, and then Leatherface like comes through the curtain with his chainsaw, and there's a guy, like everybody raises their phones and they start filming him. They say, one guy says, "Don't try it, you're gonna get canceled, bro." And then Leatherface tears through all of them with a chainsaw, which was pretty fun. I like that. I enjoy the carnage and the gore there. Also, Sally Hardesty, who was the main character from the original movie that survived, she comes back here. It's not the same actress. Marilyn Burns had passed away at this point. But the same character comes back, and they kind of do a half-assed Laurie Strode thing from Halloween 2018, where it's like, I've been waiting 50 years or 40 years or whatever it is to like kill you. And then she comes back into this town to try and save these girls, and she has Leatherface at gunpoint. She's like, say their names of my friends that you killed. And he doesn't say it, and then she lets him walk out of the room, and she doesn't shoot him. And then she goes back out into the street, and then she just gets fucking jackknifed in the middle of the road and just chainsawed through the fucking torso, thrown into a pile of garbage, and then like 10 minutes passes, but then she's still alive, and she shoots at Leatherface to try and help one of them. It's so underdeveloped. Also, Elsie Fisher, who is in 8th grade and is great in that movie, she's in this movie, but she has a backstory here where she was part of a school shooting that they don't delve into besides 2 flashbacks. So they're trying to do like a legacy sequel to the original. They're trying to do this like school shooting victim that goes into a Texas Chainsaw movie. And then they also try and do like this influencer bright new thing. It's really bad. I don't like it. The end scene of this movie is 2 girls in a Tesla that are put it on autopilot. They're driving away. Leatherface grabs one of them out of the Tesla, saws him in half. The other girl's out the sunroof, looking at the sunroof. She can't stop the autopilot on the car for some reason. Is like, no. Movie ends. This, I know that was a lot that I just threw at everybody there, but I had a lot to say about these movies. These last 3 were not good, but actually no but there. This franchise in general was a fun watch through. I had a good enough time. 3 of them are good, so I guess 1 out of 3, 30%. That's phenomenal average. Watch the original, watch the 2003, watch 2006. If I had to do a quick ranking, I'm not going to go into depth on each one because I've already done that. It's going to be the original movie, the 2003 remake, 2006 The Beginning, and then number 3, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and then probably Texas Chainsaw 3D, the 4th one, I guess, with Matthew McConaughey, 2022, and then Leatherface. Watch the few that I said. Forget the other ones happened and move on with your Texas Chainsaw or other better movie watch throughs. That was a long time.
Just watch the original, the remake, and then the prequel to the remake.
That was a long time that I rambled and talked about those movies. So, yes.
Yeah,
you go ahead.
I will not really talk, especially because I left you while you were rambling on about rambling on makes it sound like I didn't care, but just shit talking some movies that I've heard nothing but bad things about. While you finished your Halloween watch through, but I commend you for like sticking to it. I have a hard time sticking with movies if I know I hate them, even if it's like Him from the earlier this year. I remember midway through, I'm like, I could leave. Why don't I leave? I should leave, and then I regret not leaving. Whereas you watched all of them, so I commend you for that. My Halloween watch through is a lot more, I think, playing to my favorites, or at least me and my wife's favorite. Films from the past couple of years in terms of Halloween movies, horror movies. So I did want to highlight a couple of movies that we watched this past week. There's a lot, so I'm going to focus on 3 that are important and or new to me, and then I'm going to rattle through just a bunch of the other ones that I'm like, yeah, check this out. Yeah, check it out. Maybe it's worth your time. Who knows? But I did watch Late Night with the Devil. It came out in 2023. This is my 4th time watching this movie, the 3rd time watching it with my wife. I love this movie. I think it is a perfect horror movie, perfect Halloween movie. I have no gripes, no issues with it. It's not overly scary or overly gory in any sense, so if you're more of like a kind of training wheels horror fan, check out Late Night with the Devil. It's starring David Dastmalchian. It's directed by Cameron Cairns and Colin Cairns, I believe a brother duo. It's about a live television broadcast of a 1977 late night TV show, Halloween-esque episode that goes... Everything kind of goes wrong as they unleash this evil of this demon, maybe within their own recording studio. So, I think it handles the timing, the setting so well. I think it's a great horror film. It's not overly scary. You get a lot of good thrills out of it, but it's also still just an enjoying watch through, so I'd recommend that. It also takes place on Halloween night, so yes, we did just pass over Halloween, so maybe next year I'd recommend Late Night with the Devil for Halloween night. I also showed my wife for the first time one of the three, I think, if I had to label them, one of the three scariest movies to me of my entire life. The Blair Witch Project, which came out in 1999. Sure, if you watch it now, it may have lost its luster a little bit. If you know about kind of the legacy or the strengths or what this film did for indie horror, and also understand that it's not actually a true story, maybe it loses some of its effectiveness. But I watched The Blair Witch Project for the first time when I was 9 years old, when my brother Blake had friends over, and I asked him, hey, can I watch it with you guys? I won't say anything and I'll be quiet. And he said, yeah, you can watch it with us, but it's true. This is all a true story. Which is what a good older brother would do, because this movie scared the living shit out of me from then on. And watching it is always a nostalgia trip for me, but also I think it's such an effective, well-handled found footage horror film. One is kind of like the pioneer of that aesthetic, that genre, that format, and it works so well. Starring Heather Donahue, who is the lead of this film, as these three film students vanish into the woods trying to research in Maryland about this local legend of the Blair Witch. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard of it, where have you been? If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. Ian, I know it's from 1999. It's kind of at the forefront of the found footage craze, which if you're not a big found footage fan, I don't blame you. They're not always effective for me, but like Paranormal Activity, The Blair Witch, some of the sequels in the Paranormal Activity films are actually really great too, but The Blair Witch Project is so effective, it works so well, and it has still to this day one of my favorite film endings of all time. It still scares me and sends chills up my spine, and it freaks me the fuck out. So watch The Blair Witch, it's a great time. Even, I know, like I said, we're past Halloween. And in November, you can watch horror movies all year round. Doesn't fucking matter. Watch Blair Witch if you haven't. It's worth your time. A film that my wife showed to me for the first time, which it's usually the other way around, so this is always like a welcome thing. Another found footage film that came out in 2014, which I'm not going to bury the lead. It's As Above, So Below. I've heard kind of like a quiet cult following form around this film. I remember when it came out, this film got lambasted, just got dragged by critics. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a found footage movie, it's a piece of shit. I mean, we're getting a found footage movie, and in 2014, we've gotten found footage movies like every other year, like 3 times. So I'm like, it's fine. Maybe it's just overdone, it's fine. My wife really likes this movie. She thinks it's really interesting. She showed it to me. This movie's awesome. Mm-hmm. I was so surprised by the effectiveness and the weirdness that this movie swings the fences, and they don't explain everything, which I also appreciate within horror films, but there's some wild things that happen in this movie that were really effective and affecting. There are times where I was like, I have no idea where this is going. It's unpredictable. Some of the shit is eerie and freaking me out. Some of the scares that they're trying to manufacture aren't scaring me, but other shit is really working on me and getting underneath my skin. This film is about a team of explorers that venture into the catacombs that lie beneath the streets of Paris, and they uncover this dark secret that lies within the city and within the city of the dead, and they run into kind of witches and almost like a living gargoyle. I don't know. It's best to go in as blind as possible, like I did. I remember seeing the trailers when it came out in like 2014, and that was it. And then I loved this movie. So, it's not the best horror movie of all time. It's not the most scary thing I've ever seen, but it's really effective in what it sets out to do, and it's a great time. It's a great watch. And I think it'd be a good group watch. Watch with a lot of people. It's kind of an underrated cult classic nowadays, so if you have seen it, I'm interested to see what other people's opinions are, because I don't not a lot of people talk about this movie a whole lot, at least that I know. So
Yeah.
I'd recommend it. You've seen it.
I have, yeah. Just to comment on these kind of three quickly. Late Night with the Devil, I love. That movie
Perfect.
has some of the best scares or like make me most uncomfortable in a movie recently.
The ending, I talked about the Blair Witch ending. The ending to that, what was it? Awake? What was it? What he just has this mantra that he says when he's in shock at the very end of that movie.
Yep.
Awake, a dream.
Something like
it's
really effective. It's a really good ending to that movie. I love the feel of like a late night show in the 70s that just feels I don't know, creepy in a way, but also nostalgic in a weird way too. I love that movie. I'm glad that you got to rewatch it. We have the steelbook over there, which is a beautiful steelbook.
Best steelbook I have in my collection.
Head
honestly.
on Fire
One of my favorites,
is beautiful. Blair Witch Project is, whether it stood the test of time or not, it definitely is one of the more important movies coming at the turn of the century for horror movies for sure. As Above, So Below, pretty fun movie. I like it. I like the catacombs. I don't know if you read the 39 Clues books at all.
Yeah!
The very first book in that series, like the main two characters, Dan and Amy, go down to the catacombs in Paris, and there's like skulls everywhere. And I always remember that. And so like this movie kind of tapped into that a little bit too.
That is a fucking trip. Oh, I'm looking at the box set of the books.
Dude, and like the books had cards in there where you could go online and like punch in the codes for the cards and play games. That was such a cool book series. I love that.
I completely forgot about this book. Oh my god.
I'm glad you watched that for the first time, though. It's As Above, So Below is a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, it's a great watch. It's a great horror watch. It doesn't 100% like fit into like Halloween, but come Halloween season, I always want to watch horror movies I haven't seen. So I was really excited to watch that with my wife. I also am still plugging away on Twin Peaks. I watched episodes 7 through 9 of Twin Peaks: The Return this past week, and yes, episode 8 of The Return is a surrealist horror masterpiece of television. Like, it is one of the best episodes of TV I've seen. It's wild to get it kind of where we're getting it in this season. Granted, this is a show that came out in 2017, so I'm speaking about something that's hasn't been relevant for like 8 years, but it's interesting to get it in this part of the season structure, and it's an episode that harkens back to the beginning of Twin Peaks, and it covers a lot of shit, and it does it in a really upsetting, off-putting, and just scary, surrealist way. So I really loved it. I'm so eager to continue through on. I'm halfway through The Return. I'm almost done with Twin Peaks, and I've loved almost all of it. So I'm excited to keep going with that. I did start Friday the 13th. This is going to be a little bit of a rant, I guess. Friday the 13th, the remake, the 2009 version that was directed by Marcus Nispel, who we talked about, who did the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I also love his remake of Friday the 13th. I think it's a very great, bringing someone up to speed on the Friday the 13th lore, Jason Voorhees lore, and kicking it off with just a good old-fashioned slasher at a cabin. Works great. You have annoying college kids, and they're getting killed in great ways. And I like this movie a lot. My issue with it is not an issue with the movie itself. It's more of just the way in which I was watching it, which I was watching it Halloween night. This is one of my Halloween watches, because my wife had never seen a Friday the 13th movie, and I thought, this is a good entry point for you. So we started watching the remake, finished 50 minutes of it. It's like an hour and a half long, so we decided to end the movie on our living room TV, watching it on HBO Max. We moved into our bedroom because she was getting tired, so we were like, we'll watch it in bed, we'll fall asleep to it, it'll be the end of the night. Go into our bedroom, and in that time between when we started it, initially on our TV in our living room, to moving it into our bedroom, HBO Max decided they don't have Friday the 13th, 2009 anymore. So if I wanted to finish the last 40 minutes of the movie I had already seen, I had to buy it off of Amazon Prime. And this is just more of me unpacking more reasoning as to why I hate streaming and the prevalence of streaming. So, fuck you, HBO Max, which isn't something I usually say, because HBO Max is my favorite streaming service. It's usually me throwing FUs to Ted Sarandos and Netflix because they piss me off, but I hate streaming, and I think it's the death of all great content, and especially the death of the theater business. So fuck you, and the horse that you ride in on, it's bullshit. Don't snap.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
I know you're agreeing. Now I'm going to roast you. People that snap, like, yes, that
like
is
like a poetry slam.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that
like
is
that?
the most insufferable thing. The Thank you for agreeing with me.
Yeah.
Sorry to grill you a little bit. You just kind of opened the doorway for me to rant on another fucking thing. Cynthia is dead. 22 Jump Street's awesome.
Incredible.
Aside from Friday the 13th and that rant, I also watched The Corpse Bride because my wife loves that movie, so we watched that, and we watch it every year. And I showed her Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. If that movie was not titled Halloween 3 and was just titled Season of the Witch, or was its own original thing, I think that this would be a Halloween horror classic. Since it has that weird moniker of, it's a Halloween film, but it doesn't have Michael Myers. It's kind of like the redheaded ugly stepchild of the franchise, and no one really acknowledges it except for like the cult following that says, actually, this movie's awesome. Try not to like relate it or compare it to what we get with Michael Myers. This is something so perfect and different. I love that movie. It's great. You get Tom Atkins, who is sensational in this movie. He's also amazing in Night of the Creeps. If you haven't seen that movie from the 80s, check that out. Humpty Dumpty was indeed pushed. It's the one thing that makes me and Corey consistently laugh, which is on the stall door in that film. So I had a bit of a Halloween watch through. There's a lot of horror movies that I didn't fit into this month that I'm going to carry over into November, so fully expect that I'm going to continue to talk horror movies for a lot of the rest of this fall season.
Woo! A lot of horror movies.
A lot of
things we went through there
in
a couple minutes. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I love
It's
the movie.
very slow paced, which I didn't. Upon a rewatch, I was like, "Wow, we're really." Which, like, not a negative. It was an adjustment. Getting back into it, I was like, "Oh, I knew like from memory of watching." I was like, I knew the beats, so I was like, "Let's get to it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is kind of like a slight detective story too." So it is a good watch. It is a little bit of a slower Halloween watch.
This is maybe a hot take. This is in my top 5 favorite Halloween franchise movies. I love this movie.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. I think it's maybe my like 4 or 5 in the franchise. I think it's really good. So yeah, a lot of options. If you're still looking to catch up on horror movies, we've given you some that are good, some that are not good. So feel free to check any of those out for sure. But coming out this week, we also have just a fuck ton of shit coming out. Fall season, there's so many Oscar movies, but then also like a couple blockbuster things coming out in there.
We're going to have to rattle through these.
The blockbuster that's coming out, Predator Badlands, which is coming from Dan Trachtenberg, who did the last 2 Predator movies with Prey and Predator Killer of Killers. Also 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is an incredible movie. This movie is about a young predator who's outcast from his clan, who finds an unlikely ally in Elle Fanning on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary. And I'm down for this movie. I really like Killer of Killers from earlier this year, the animated movie. Only released on Hulu, unfortunately. Didn't go to theaters. Prey is my second favorite Predator movie. Predator, again, maybe a hot take, I don't know, but Predator is my favorite action movie of all time. I think that movie is just perfect in everything that it tries to do, of muscly, oiled up men in a jungle shooting at things that they don't know are there. That's awesome. I love it. I love what Dan Trachtenberg has done with the franchise. I think he just has a feel for it, for sure.
He has the best understanding of it.
Yeah, like if John McTiernan could have continued with the original Predator, I think he would have had the best run of movies. He only did the first one, but just as kind of doing different eras and different time periods, I think that this movie looks really cool. I just enjoy the feel of it. So I'm really excited for Badlands. Just 2 Predator movies in a year. We also had Alien Earth, so kind of like 3 projects within the same sort of franchise a little bit with Weyland-Yutani and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'm excited for Badlands. I'm excited for this movie.
Oh yeah, that's a Thursday night in the theater must watch for me. I can't wait to see that. I'm excited by the trailers, and the positive reactions have started coming out that are great too. Die My Love is also coming out this week. This is directed by the great director Lynn Ramsey, who is directed We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is one of the most depressing films I've ever seen in my life. Also, You Were Never Really Here, another really depressing movie, but all very well helmed and really well handled. Very great dark material. This film is starring Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson, Sissy Spacek, and Nick Nolte, which is awesome.
I'm Nick Nolte.
I love Nick Nolte. He is crazy.
This is the one.
Yeah. Watch The Warrior. Which he actually gives a great performance in, but Nick Nolte is kind of a punchline to a lot of me and Corey's jokes off air.
Blue Chips? You seen Blue Chips?
Nope.
Oh, really? With Shaq? The basketball movie where Nick Nolte's a coach?
I remember you telling me about this. and I still have it, but it still sounds insane.
Oh, it's incredible. I love it.
But Die My Love, like I said, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, really eerie, dark trailers. Grace, a writer, and a young mother is slowly slipping into madness. Locked away in an old house in and around Montana, we see her acting increasingly agitated and erratic, leaving her companion Jackson, played by Robert Pattinson, increasingly worried and helpless. This is a very dark, serious movie. I'm more excited for Predator Badlands just because I'm like, I can go in there with any mindset and have a good time. Mm-hmm. I know Die My Love, I can't wait to see. I love Lynn Ramsey. I love the cast. I just know that this is going to be a day ender. Like, I'm going to see this movie, not talk to anyone, and then go to bed. Like, this is a movie that's going to upset the fuck out of me, and I've heard nothing but great things. Mm-hmm. So, I'm excited to see it. I just know it's going to be whenever I decide what day of next week or weekend I want to be depressed for the rest of the day. That's when I'm going to see Die My Love.
It's fun to see kind of Jennifer Lawrence coming from Hunger Games, Robert Pattinson from Twilight. Both of them have done such great work after that. And just seeing them together in a movie, they're, I think, two of the better actors working today. Just in kind of, it seems like a more contained movie, which I'm really excited for. You Were Never Really Here is so great. I love that movie from 2017. I haven't seen We Need to Talk About Kevin. I know you've mentioned that it's been, like you said, very depressing, very heavy. So, really excited for this one. Another movie that's garnering some award season buzz is Nuremberg, which is directed by James Vanderbilt. And we got Russell Crowe, Colin Hanks, Rami Malek in the movie. And essentially, it's Rami Malek plays a World War II psychiatrist who is evaluating Nazi leaders before the Nuremberg trials. And Russell Crowe is playing Hermann Göring in the movie. I remember, I think on the podcast a while back, you mentioned you watched Judgment at Nuremberg, which you really loved, and is the same essential concept. I've heard really good things about this movie. Mason and I have talked about it. The trailers have looked a little Lifetime movie-ish.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad, but more so, like, I haven't seen Judgment at Nuremberg, but I'm more curious to watch it kind of now. But just to see, like, probably a better version of the story. So, it's Russell Crowe is getting some buzz, maybe, and I'm sure it will be a fine movie. Yeah. Like, if we do end up seeing it this week, or if it gets nominated for stuff, we'll be like, this is a good telling of this, but I like the era. I like a lot of the performance, or the actors in this movie, so curious about it, but it just hasn't wowed me with the trailer so far.
Yeah, the trailers have been kind of lackluster for me as well. I love Judgment at Nuremberg. It's got Spencer Tracy and Burt Lancaster. Yeah, it's a movie from the 60s, but it is so phenomenally, like, well-helmed, well-written. There is so many great interrogations and argument scenes, and I think that they talk about the morality and mortality of what was done during that time period and Nazi Germany, and I think it's a very interesting, well-handled story in that film. So now that there's a new rendition of, or a retelling of things that happened during this trial or during this time period, I don't know if I'm ever really excited to see another Nuremberg movie that's not just, I'm just going to rewatch Trial at Nuremberg, or Judgment at Nuremberg. So if this one garners kind of more positive reception or awards contention, then maybe I'll check it out down the line. It's not something I'm going to be rushing to, but I've heard good things, so I wouldn't be surprised if Russell Crowe maybe is in a conversation for best performance or whatnot. Another film coming out, which I believe is based upon a true story, is Christie, which is directed by David Michaud, director of Animal Kingdom, The Rover, which is one of my absolute favorite A24 films starring Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson, and also The King, which I believe is on Netflix with Timothée Chalamet. Is that one that's Timothée Chalamet and Robert Pattinson?
Yep.
Christie is starring Sydney Sweeney, Coleman, I'm guessing Coleman Domingo. It just says Coleman, but I'm guessing that's Coleman Domingo. I don't know
Coleman
a lot
Padigo, I think.
Oh, Coleman Padigo.
I think I just put a comma in there.
There's just a random comma. That's fine. Merritt Wever and Ethan Embry. This tells the story of Christy Martin, the most successful female boxer of the 90s. I've heard a lot about this movie, but I feel like it's been 3 years in the making where I've started to hear publicity kind of pour out about this. So I'm at the most, like, I need to rush out and see this. I do think Sydney Sweeney, aside from being, one, a very attractive woman, a great comedic actress. I do think she has awesome dramatic, serious acting chops, and I think that her doing kind of this true story, more physical performance could be something really surprising, and I think could maybe garner her some more accolades, whether or not it's a awards contention, but more just positive reception, or more proof that yes, she can act. I might check this out. It's not something I'm eager about, but I do love the previous works I've seen from this director, so I'm interested. It's just not, of this list of movies, the one I'm rushing to see.
I think it's a heavy field for Best Actress this year, so I just don't see this one getting in. But again, I think Sydney Sweeney can do great work. Immaculate. Watch that movie if you haven't seen it, because she's really good in that.
Great horror movie of the last couple of years.
Yeah, so definitely curious about this one for sure. Another one coming out this week is Sarah's Oil, and it is about an 11-year-old named Sarah Rector, played by Nia Desir Johnson, who was born in Oklahoma Indian Territory in the early 1900s and believes there's oil beneath their land, and she kind of taps into her faith and everything to kind of find this oil. Zachary Levi also stars in this movie. I think I've seen the trailer maybe once for this. I don't know that I'm going to see this one in theaters. It seems like it could be a sort of crowd pleaser in a way. But I don't have much else to really say, but I don't know that it's really awards contention or anything like that. It seems like one that will maybe sort of come and go, unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about this film, so with kind of the stacked week, I'm sure it likely will get lost in the shuffle for me. Not that it should, but it's pointing that way. Another could be big release for us is Sentimental Value, which is entering limited release, so whether it's showing around us remains to be seen. But this is directed by Joachim Trier, director of The Worst Person in the World, which also starred Renee Rensev, I believe is how you pronounce, or Rensev. She was the lead actress in that film and also is carrying over, and this is her alongside Stellan Skarsgård and Elle Fanning, and it's an intimate exploration of family memories and the reconciliatory power of art.
You hit that word good. You hit every syllable. That was nice.
I had to, because I had 5 beers and they're all working on every single syllable I try to say right now. So, I just saw this trailer for the first time, actually, in preparation and waiting to see Bugonia in theaters. So it was the first time I saw the trailer. I've heard great things about Stellan Skarsgård in this film. I'm really excited to see what this could be. I know, again, this is going to be another really touching, serious movie, and I'm like, damn, all right. Awards contention, awards conversation, those films are coming out, and it's going to really kick off. Which is to be expected with the fall in November especially. So I'm excited for this movie. If it's showing at the main cinema, which is typically the theater I go to see movies that are in limited release in our area, I'll probably try and check it out this week.
Oh, 100%. I'm actually really excited for this. I have not seen The Worst Person in the World.
I haven't either.
I've heard it's really good. I know it got nominated for Best Screenplay and International Film a few years back. So I want to check that one out before I see this movie for sure. The movie that maybe of the award season kind of darlings that I'm most looking forward to is called Train Dreams, which is coming into limited release this week, and it's going to be released on Netflix November 21st, and it's directed by Clint Bentley, who was one of the co-writers of Sing Sing, which is one of my favorite movies of the decade. I love it. And it stars Joel Edgerton as a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected depth and beauty in the rapidly changing America of the early 20th century. I'm all in for that. Dude that's logging, dude that's doing some railroad work. Fuck yeah. I've heard a lot of comparisons to The Brutalist, of somebody kind of just crafting their life and kind of how their family relates to that as they're building their career. I am so sold on this. I think Joel Edgerton is such a good actor and is very underrated and underappreciated in everything that he's in. I love him. And just Clint Bentley kind of taking the reins of this movie, I think is great. It's based on a book. So I'm really stoked for this one. I hope it's showing this week. It may take a couple weeks to roll out. Along with Sentimental Value, it may be a couple weeks until you actually see it pop up in theaters. But two big movies that are going to be some award season favorites for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. And I'm also just a massive Joel Edgerton fan, so whenever I can see him on screen leading a film, him in Gift, him directing The Gift with Jason Bateman.
That movie's so good.
I fucking love that movie from, I think, 2015. No one, it's a thriller that no one really brings up or talks about a whole lot. That movie's awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see this. If you're going to talk about it or compare this movie to The Brutalist, then I'm there because I really did enjoy that movie from last year. Moving into a little bit of a physical media movie roundup, I did end up purchasing a horror movie that I was hoping to watch on Halloween night, but I missed the mark and I wasn't able to kind of time it out right. And I also was half a bottle of wine deep, a couple movies deep, also 20 boneless wings from B-Dubs deep, so I was ready for bed. Also, the defeat of not being able to finish Friday the 13th really pissed me off and put me in a sour mood, so I was like, I just need to go to bed. But I bought on Blu-ray Session 9, which is a horror film I've heard a lot about. I always catch me any night Googling best horror films of the last 30 years, 40 years, and just scrolling and doom scrolling through movies that I have or haven't seen. And Session 9 is usually one of those kind of horror thrillers that I typically stumble upon, but I still haven't seen. The premise I'm really interested in, so I did buy that on Blu-ray. I was hoping to watch it on Halloween night. I'm probably going to watch it in the coming days, so I'll likely be talking about it next week.
This week coming up, for things coming out, we have The Breakfast Club on Criterion coming out 4K Blu-ray. I love The Breakfast Club. It's so good. As we stumble through me drinking and probably 6 beers in as I'm just trying to say titles correctly.
That's fine.
Anyways, that movie's so good. Watch it. Also, very exciting news. Coda, a Best Picture winner, finally is coming out on physical media, 4K and Blu-ray.
I didn't know this.
For the first time. It has not come out before. I've been every probably month I've checked to see if Coda has come out on physical media, and it hasn't until now. I love Coda. I think it's so good. I think
a good Best Picture winner. Yeah.
I think it's a good Best Picture winner. It's a very quiet movie.
Yeah.
And it's not the flashiest thing, but I think it's really good. So happy that it's finally getting a release. This is the only Best Picture winner that had never had a physical media release before. Because Nomadland had one. It was very limited Blu-ray, yeah. But this was the only one. So I love that movie. The original Naked Gun from 1988 is coming out on 4K. Cheech and Chong's Last Movie on 4K, and then Hard Boiled on 4K as well. So a few different options coming out this week. We've talked about some award season movies. One thing that I always look forward to every year is the Gotham Award nominations. And that's kind of the first really benchmark of award season movies. We won't talk about every awards show. Kind of like last year, we covered some stuff, the bigger ones, but the Gotham Awards come out, and not going to go through every category because there's a lot of stuff to get through, but I do want to mention the 10 Best Feature nominees. They've previously had 5. This year they expanded to 10 for Best Feature. So this year they have Bugonia, East of Wall, Familiar Touch, Hamnet, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Lurker, One Battle After Another, Sorry Baby, The Testament of Ann Lee, and Train Dreams. We've seen a couple of these, One Battle After Another and Bugonia. We've liked them both. A few of them that we've mentioned before. Really excited to see. International Feature is a pretty interesting one too. I think there's going to be a lot of good ones, especially in the Oscar race this year.
Oh, yeah.
With It Was Just an Accident and No Other Choice. And then Nouvelle Vague is coming out this week, kind of in some more theaters as well. One thing I wanted to mention is Best Breakthrough Director. We got Carson Lund nominated for Ephus, which is such a good movie. We've talked about that. We both reviewed that movie.
I love that movie so much.
It's so good.
One of the best. You want to talk about earlier? You mentioned it's hard to get romantic. It's hard not to get romantic about baseball. Ephus is that to a T. Even when you are not a professional athlete, just playing for the love of the game and being able to play on a team with people that you grew up with or love around you. So I love that. I didn't know that until you started filling in the Gotham Awards stuff for today's episode. So I'm floored by that. I think that that's an exceptional movie, and it's a great movie about just the feelings of nostalgia that are based around a sport that you've loved all of your life. And I think it's one of my favorite sports films I've ever seen, and it's also a great hangout movie. It's just a chill, fun, happy, funny movie about men not wanting to hang it up and want to still play baseball as long as they possibly can.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was so much fun. I'm glad that he got recognized for that.
That's perfect.
There's a lot of stuff to go through with the nominations, but one I'm actually really excited for is The Secret Agent, which Wagner Moura got nominated for Best Lead Performance. I've heard really good things about that. I think that could be in the Best International category as well. And then the final thing I want to point out here is the Breakthrough Performer category. Chase Infinity got nominated for One Battle After Another. Very deserved. Also, A$AP Rocky got nominated for Highest to Lowest. Remember that song from there? Back up the trunk, from the front to the back. Remember that?
Sadly.
Are we gonna get copyrighted for that? How's that work?
I don't think we're big.
I think I sang it pretty well, so I think it was like pretty,
that was pretty good.
pretty good. Anyways, he got nominated.
I think that's absolute bullshit.
That's
too.
crazy that he got nominated.
Crazy that you just want to throw A$AP Rocky some flowers for no fucking reason, because that movie does not deserve any sort of accolades. Not that it's horrible dog shit, it's just not good. And I love Spike. That movie's not good.
He's also in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
So it's kind of interesting because that one's in awards contention and in that conversation already. Granted, I haven't seen that movie. I'm sure I will likely end up having to, because I know Rose Byrne's probably going to get it. I think she's probably a shoo-in for a top 5 performance of the year, so she'll maybe be in that Academy Award conversation. So I'll probably end up seeing it. I feel like seeing A$AP Rocky attached to Highest to Lowest, that makes more sense to me based off of what I've heard about. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, that'd be for that movie, but fuck it, whatever.
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, I guess. Oh my god. Fuck Highest to Lowest. Just watch High and Low. It's perfect
so
movie. Anyway, that's the Gotham. Unless you had anything else to say about the Gotham Awards, I'm really excited of these movies. That I know this is already like starting the long list of homework assignments of movies I need to check out before awards season really is upon us. I can't wait to see It Was Just an Accident.
Mm-hmm.
That's a movie I've been looking for showings near us constantly. So I can't wait to see that whenever it's around us. There's a lot of movies that I'm sure like Josh O'Connor in The Mastermind getting nominated for Outstanding Lead Performance. I know that's showing near us, and I keep hearing great things about that. I'm like, fuck. There's so much stuff I need to watch right now. It's daunting.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the Gotham Awards and it kind of kicking off a lot of that awards conversation. We did have 2 major trailers from this past week. One of which I wasn't really excited about, but also we just watched it not that long ago, me and Corey, and it is a really good trailer. At least it has really good music, but that is the trailer for Stranger Things Season 5, a show that took 9 years to give us 5 seasons, but damn it, I'm still somewhat excited, just worried about the kids looking a little bit too old. Got that trailer, I'm really excited to see it. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But we also got a trailer for Scream 7, which is bringing back the franchise icon in Neve Campbell and as well Courtney Cox. And they'll be confronting a new Ghostface who is now targeting Sidney Prescott's daughter. The film is set to open in February, I believe February 27th of 2026. We got that trailer, a little generic, some kind of iconic and cliche moments of the Ghostface Scream franchise. So you get a lot of give and take of, all right, we're reestablishing a new set story, but also it's stuff that we may have seen before, and it's a new Ghostface killer. So how many times can we have a new Ghostface killer? The Scream horror franchise is the most consistent slasher franchise ever. It hits almost all the time. Scream 3 has its fans, I'm sure. I'm not one of them. But the Scream
still fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
The Scream franchise is consistent. Scream 7, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, how many times can we do a Ghostface thing? But I saw this trailer. I dug it. I think there's some good imagery within it. Both of these trailers have worked overall for me for Stranger Things Season 5 and Scream 7. Corey, what'd you think?
I like the Scream franchise a lot. I think it's really good. I think it's, like you said, very consistent. This trailer is very, coming off the controversy of a lot of Scream 7 from Melissa Barrera getting fired over comments about Israel and Hamas and all of that. And then Jenna Ortega also leaving, and then Christopher Landon also leaving as director. And then bringing in
I forgot he was attached, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and then Kevin Williamson, who wrote the first couple movies, and I think the fourth one, he's directing the film. And then we get Neve Campbell back, who didn't come in for the 6th movie because of, they didn't want to pay her enough money, I guess. So, very interesting road to get to Scream 7. I think the trailer looks fun. You hear a little bit of Stu in the last line of the trailer. You hear Matthew Lillard in the trailer, which is a little fun. Mm-hmm. They've teased a lot of other casting in the movie, which is curious to see how they do it. It could be, and I think that's why the trailer is a little bit more generic, because there are a lot of big teases and big things coming for sure. I'm excited for that. The Stranger Things Season 5 trailer actually got me really fucking hyped up. Using the Queen song, Who Wants to Live Forever from the Highlander soundtrack as like a really good 80s song that fits the vibe of Stranger Things really well. Kind of this big emotional finale to the show. I like that. It looks like a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that. That'll be 3 different parts of like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's as we review that. A couple other things. You guys remember Rogue Squadron? That Patty Jenkins movie that was going to happen like 5 years ago?
We saw her in an X-Wing on a runway.
She was there. She was in person.
This fucking movie.
I guess it's maybe coming to Disney Plus as a show or something. I don't know. Maybe. I don't really need more Disney Plus Star Wars stuff. I don't know.
I think we can, after Andor Season 2, you're not going to match that.
No.
I think at this point we could move off of it. Like, give us Ahsoka, because you already have that season in production. But I'm like, I don't need a new project within a Disney Plus series for Star Wars. Keep Star Wars theatrical. Move it back to the big screen. That's where it should be.
Yeah, we've had all the projects that they worked on, like Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, all the things that they released already. It's like, all right, you did those. Yeah. Not all of them really worked, but whatever. From some very exciting news, Spielberg is reportedly making a new UFO film. We don't really know much beyond that, but coming out next year, I believe it is. And John Williams was announced that he's going to be the composer for that movie. We had Close Encounters, another very famous Spielberg movie that is so good. Also sort of weirdly underrated in a way. I feel like nobody talking about that as his classic movie, but is really solid. 30th collaboration between the two of them. That's insane. That's like, I don't know, it makes me like kind of emotional because it could be the last one. I don't know.
And you got John Williams coming out of retirement for it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's crazy.
It's we don't know if this is the last one between the two of them or one of the last ones for sure. So I imagine that it will be something very special.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Don't care about Rogue Squadron, but I am excited for Spielberg and Williams potentially for his new UFO film. Paramount has tapped Taylor Sheridan, who there has been Taylor Sheridan news other than this about him jumping ship and moving to a different production or a different studio. Not talking about that. Paramount has tapped Taylor Sheridan specific and Peter Berg to develop and produce a Call of Duty movie. Berg will direct and co-write with Sheridan and reuniting with longtime friends behind Hell or High Water. Which
Hell yeah, brother.
I fumbled the fuck out of that title, and it's a fantastic movie, so feel bad about that a little bit.
You sound like Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water. Though.
Really, yeah, just real mumbly, need subtitles.
There you go.
It's like, I know what language you're speaking. I speak English too. Why the fuck can I not understand? But I'm really excited about this pairing between Peter Berg and Taylor Sheridan. Peter Berg has directed some really good... One like Lone Survivor, good like
Mile 22.
No,
did he direct that?
He did. Yeah. I think he also directed the Friday Night Lights movie from the early 2000s, which is great. But and Patriots Day, awesome movie. Yeah. Let's end it on that because if we try and dig too much, we might find some other bad ones like Mile 22. But I like this pairing. I think that fits for what I understand Call of Duty to be. I haven't played Call of Duty for years, and when I have played it, it's you and I playing Black Ops Zombies on a PS3. So we're not current with it. I don't know what all they've done. I think Black Ops 2 is where I stopped, and I think that's where Call of Duty probably as a video game series should have stopped for me, at least story-wise. But I'm excited by that pairing. Another big thing is that Netflix and AMC theaters are reportedly planning on a summer 2026 release for a big film that Corey and I are super excited for. David Fincher's The Adventures of Cliff Booth. I don't remember if that title was ever confirmed or not, but if it is, perfect title. A sequel to Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is a film Corey and I love so much and is really kind of important to our friendship. But Netflix is said to be considering also a limited but maybe expanded theatrical release before the film starts its debut on its streaming service. So I'm excited for that. I'm also still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I'm getting a continuation of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood through Cliff Booth, directed by David Fincher. I think that this is really interesting information. I hope that I feel like every movie we've talked about that's gone into a limited release for awards contention this upcoming year has been a Netflix original. So I'm like, I hope Netflix kind of gets the idea that maybe we just do a full theatrical release for a movie. So maybe it is The Adventures of Cliff Booth that they shell that out for. I get it. It's worth it. It's going to be an awesome movie. I can't wait. Corey, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We were talking a little bit ago about 4 years ago, October of 2021.
Yep.
I invited you up for Halloween, up to Duluth, up to college. We dressed up. You were Rick Dalton. I was Cliff Booth. And invited you to a Halloween party with some of my friends. You met this woman named Allie. And you guys started talking, and 4 years ago was the first time you guys met. Yeah, so a year ago yesterday, which is very fun. So just a very important movie for us, for sure. Just will always be.
Seeing that in 29, I saw that movie, I think, 3 times in theaters. First time, obviously, with you.
We saw it twice together, I remember.
Fucking. The movie was so good.
It's so good. I can't wait.
Even just the fucking end credits. Him doing the cigarette commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking tastes like shit.
Fucking shit. The red apple.
Yeah, red apple cigarette. Take a bite of a red apple.
Yeah. That movie's great. I'm so excited for this. I'm glad that Netflix has given it a summer release for sure. Yeah. A Fincher movie deserves to be seen in theaters, especially for just our friendship.
Yeah, 100%. I completely forgot that this was also added to the end of the day, but there is a upcoming Spider-Man movie that we all know about, I'm guessing.
What?
Yeah. Tom Holland's doing another, a fourth.
Fuck?
Spider-Man Brand New Day is sadly going to be missing out on the IMAX 2026 IMAX schedule. I can tell you're so devastated because the movie that got the IMAX screenings in place of Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm like, okay, that's fine. It works. Give it to that movie. But all of the premium screens have currently been claimed by the Odyssey, as it will have a theatrical run from July 17th through August 14th, which is
a month.
A month of IMAX for a Chris Nolan film, which, yeah, he did Oppenheimer, so it makes sense, and also Dark Knight and among other amazing movies. But we're going to see the Odyssey in fucking, Milwaukee?
70 millimeter in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, not Milwaukee.
I'm so excited for that.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. Sorry, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'm still super excited for you. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time, and I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, so I'll see it in theaters. It doesn't need to be IMAX, and I understand that IMAX is claimed and taken by Nolan, and I have no issue with that. But it's been a long fucking episode. I pissed once during it. Corey did too, and I need to piss again. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm so sorry that you have to listen to us bumble on with beer in our bellies and piss in our fucking urinary tract. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and movie news. Give us a like, give us a suggestion, review, or give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or whatever podcast feed we're on. I don't fucking know anymore. And film is not just about what's on screen, it's about who's next to you in the theater.
Also, just want to quickly shout out, Mason does great reviews on Instagram. He wrote a great review for Bugonia, does great reviews for all the big movies and some of the smaller ones that come out. Go read those because he does a great job on our Instagram. So check those out. From Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.